Calculating ratings for football players is fun, but it's even more fun if we can somehow visualize the ratings. In this video, we will demonstrate how we can illustrate the development of both the current rating of a player as well as the estimate of the peak rating of a player. Coming right up. Greetings, my name is Lars Magnus, and this is yet another video about football player ratings. In the previous episode, we introduced the age of a player as a component in our rating model for football players. This allowed us to estimate not only the current rating of a football player, but also the peak rating. By the way, the illustrated top 10 list is generated based on the dataset used for tuning our rating models. In this video, we will use our largest dataset to illustrate how the rating estimates of some selected players have evolved over time. This larger dataset contains more than 134,000 matches involving more than 75,000 players. This map shows which domestic leagues appear in the dataset. In addition, the dataset includes lots of international matches, as well as international club tournaments such as the Champions League and the Europa League. We have already presented some rating graphs in the previous episodes, and in this video we will revisit those and update them based on our newest model that allows us at any point in time to estimate the peak rating of players. Let us start by looking at the rating graph of Nicolas Otamendi as presented in episode 7. The graph shows how the rating model evaluated Otamendi at different points in time, considering only the evidence at hand up to and including the time. At this point, recall that our rating models are conservative and that players must perform well over many matches before the rating system becomes convinced that a player deserves a high rating. Therefore, we naturally see an increasing trend, which appears not yet to have stalled. For Otamendi, the corresponding rating graph based on our newest rating system really looks very similar. However, we can add one more curve to the figure. This dotted line shows how the model estimates the peak rating of Otamendi at the various points in time. From age 20 to 24, the peak rating of Otamendi hovers around what corresponds to the rating of the 1000th best player of today. Near the beginning of 2013, the model changes its evaluation, and the peak rating estimate of Otamendi reaches a new plateau. Then, from around the age of 28, it seems that the evaluation of Otamendi is moving up a lot, and takes him well into the top 100 players of our database. Another player whose rating graph we presented before is Jan Vertonghen. Similar to Otamendi, we saw that the model provided gradually higher rating estimates for him over the course of his career so far. His new rating graph also looks very similar to the old one, although perhaps a bit steeper in the beginning, and a bit flatter near the end. Regarding his estimated peak rating, it has moved upwards slowly and steadily. Also notice that the estimate of the peak rating and the estimate of the rating itself are very close to each other from the age of 24 to the age of 30, showing that football players typically have quite a few years where they perform very near their best. We have also seen the rating graph of Antonio Valencia earlier. He had a steady climb except for a rather steep period very early in 2010. His new rating graph, adjusted for age effects, indicates that most of the increasing rating was to be anticipated. However, still his peak rating estimate has also been increasing rather steadily, with a sudden boost during the second half of 2017. Now, just a quick look at some of the other rating graphs that we have presented in earlier videos. John Joe Kenny. Now, with the peak age estimate, he is looking like a future top 1000 player. Nathaniel Chalobah is interesting. With the new graph, we can see that he is already around top 1000 in the world and poised to climb even higher. Moving on to some players discussed in episode 11, we first have Cesc Fabregas. His new graph looks a bit impressive, as the model already from the beginning identified him as a coming top 100 player. Considering Jordan Henderson, on the other hand, the new rating graph shows a very stable estimate of the peak rating until he moved to Liverpool at the age of 21. Since then, his peak rating estimate has steadily improved. Yaya Touré was the top-rated midfielder in the English Premier League, appearing so far in the 2017-2018 season. He is a player that the model seems to have underestimated for a long time. Notice how his rating estimate in the new graph is fairly stable since 2013, while his peak rating estimate is increasing. This could mean that he has been able to keep performing at his highest level past the point that an average player would start to decline. Now let's look at some players whose rating graphs we have previously not considered. Lionel Messi is the current top player in the world. The model identified him as a coming superstar from the very beginning, but he has of course outperformed even those expectations. Cristiano Ronaldo was likewise recognized from very early on. Interestingly, while his current rating is lower than the current rating of Messi, his current peak rating is higher than Messi's. For the Scandinavian viewers, let us look at two other arbitrarily selected players, the first of those being Zlatan Ibrahimovic. An impressive career, but perhaps soon no longer able to compete at the very highest level. The second arbitrarily selected player from Scandinavia is Martin Ødegaard. So far the model remains unsurprised by his performance, but it remains to see how far his talent can take him. Stay tuned for more rating graphs and ranking lists based on our football player ratings.